personally, the greatest player that ever played in professional football, the great Jerry Rice, out of Mississippi Valley State, formerly of the San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and help me to talk about this great football player out of Crawford, Mississippi, is the legend, Mr. Bobby Butler, by way of Florida State University and Atlanta Falcons, first round draft pick in the 81 draft, and Mr. Kevin the Bull Jones, one of the best high school football coaches here in the state of Georgia, coach at Mount Zion, Lovejoy High School, Riverdale, and Dutchtown. So we're going to talk about Jerry Rice. If you like the video today, please comment and share it. So let me start with a man who played against this young man consistently over at least, 10 to 12 years? My man, Bobby Butler. Tell us what made Jerry Rice so special in the National Football League.
Jerry Rice, how can I say this, Coach? He's quite simple. The hardest working man in show business. So the thing about him, his work ethic was on another level. See, if you're a young kid and you're studying how to be a great receiver, you definitely want to pick up something on Jerry Rice, because no one would outwork him, or he wouldn't allow you to outwork him. You know, we hear this thing about Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality. Well, there's some older guys who had the same kind of mindset, and Jerry Rice was one of them. Here's what made him great. He ran every pass pattern on the tree, Coach, as if it was a go. I want you to hear that now. Every pass pattern on the tree, he ran it as if it was a go. In other words, he was full tilt on every pass pattern. So back in my day, you look at a guy who's a speed guy, he's typically going to jog off the line of scrimmage when he runs intermediate routes, right? Most of these guys, they don't run like that on every play. But if he's running a hitch, you think Jerry Rice is running a go route. If he's running a curl, you think he's running a go route. So in other words, he had those tendencies. I couldn't read his stems, Coach, because he would snap a route off at the top of the stem like that, right? He didn't give it away by a big hop. I mean, he was 6'2", so he didn't hop. He didn't have that thing what tall guys had, which make him easy to read. He had his body down, he had his weight down, and you couldn't read his hip movement. Incredible. His work ethic was off the chain. Here's another thing he did that a lot of receivers don't do. He blocked like he catch passes.
Wow, that's impressive.
Hey, listen, very physical, 6'2". He was probably, I think he came in like 195, but he probably played about 210, somewhere like that. Very physical. You know, most corners in that time averaged anywhere from 5'8" to 5'11", right? 180 pounds. Well, here you got a guy running, and let me tell y'all something. They always talk about his 40 time, throw it out the window. He didn't have a 40 time on the clock, but he had game speed. In his 20-year history, I only seen one cornerback catch it from behind, and that was prime time. I've never seen Darryl Green go get it.
Really? Not Darryl Green. Wow.
I'm telling you now, this guy had game speed. All right. And so, hey, Jerry Rice was a tremendous athlete. He had great hands. He catched the ball with one hand. Here's the other thing I can tell you about him. You know, y'all know where I'm from, right? So when I play football, I use several things. I use my speed, I use my skill, but I use this right here. I can talk you out of a game. I can get you upset with what I say with that right there. That can get you off your focus. Jerry Rice, I want y'all to hear this now, was the most professional. If they threw a ball at him and I knocked it down, he'll pat me on the butt and say, "Man, great play." You say, and you talking to him, he's not getting it with you. He's not gonna get into a dialogue with you. He just play football.
So what do? He just ignored you? He didn't say anything?
You. Won't even look at you a certain way. He just came to play. So in other words,
what would he do? Would he say anything to you?
He won't say nothing to you. And you talking all that crap, you make a play, he'll tell you, good play, man. Go back to the huddle, line up again, come at you again, right? So his character was good. The other thing about him, and because of that, Coach, you can't move his emotions up and down. He's not an emotional player, So somebody like Andre Rison, I played against Andre Rison, right? I had his mind gone. Why? Because everything I said, he wanted to pay attention to that. He's from Flint, Michigan. He's from the street. Jerry Rice, you couldn't rile his emotion. So he's a very professional ball player. And every play, he's bringing it at you. Coach, he's coming. You couldn't guess. You couldn't get it away. He's coming hard. And so he's the greatest of all time. Now, people will argue that. I think what happens when you go from different generations, they say Randy Moss could be there. They say, hey, well, listen. If y'all don't believe Jerry Rice is the best, forget what I'm saying. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to Wikipedia, put his name in Wikipedia, and go down there and read, because we don't have time on this show. Go down there and read all of his NFL records. He's not just an all-time scoring leader in the NFL, touchdown leader. He got all the records. So go do that. Jerry Rice not only is the best receiver of all time, he's probably the best football player of all time. He played 20 years in the National Football League. And I believe, Coach, this is what I believe about Jerry Rice. He can come back and play today.
What about the receivers that get mad when they don't get the ball thrown to them? When your experience playing against him, how did he react? Because he would run the route so perfectly, knowing he wasn't getting the ball. How did he react if he didn't get the ball? Did he get mad like today's receivers?
Remember, he played for the 49ers during my time. They had a great team. The other receiver was John Taylor. John Taylor got love, right?
Yes, he did.
All right. And so they had Roger Craig catching balls out the backfield. Hey, they wanted to win. He didn't have a problem with not getting the ball.
Right.
But he was their number one guy. So he did get the ball. And so, but his emotions was not like that up and down. He was a great team. I talked to a lot of guys who played with him. They said, man, he worked as hard in practice as he does in the game.
That's amazing.
Okay, Coach Jones.
Well, hey, listen, I got three things that I thought that made him one of the key ingredients of why he was one of the best. He is considered one of the best players to ever play the game of football, and that's by quite a few. All of the NFL, ESPN, everybody resorts to him as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. One thing I thought that he had that was impressive was he was instilled at a young age of hard work, and whether he knew he was as talented as he was when he was younger, his father instilled in him as a bricklayer, throwing those bricks, and he's having to catch those bricks. And he decided at a young age he doesn't want to have that job for the rest of his life, sun up, sun down. I'm a city guy, so if I go past street lights, I might get nervous. But he's a country boy, and he had to work from sun up to sun down as a bricklayer's son, and that probably attributed to some of the things that he focused on with depth perception and being able to catch that football the way he did. It didn't help. It didn't hurt that he had big hands, but his work ethic as a youngster and what his parents embedded in him, giving credit to mom and dad, I'm sure had something to do with the mental toughness that he grew up with that helped him to be successful later on. Part of that is also, I call it the HBCU mindset, playing at a historically black college, and I'm gonna tell you something. Coming from Norfolk State University, HBCU, I didn't get a chance to go to the professional level to play, but I can tell you this much: you do have a mindset that you have a lot to that you need to try to achieve. For more than one reason, you have to be the best that you can be as a human and as a professional and as an athlete. Now, once your athlete playing days are over with, your goal is, everybody that comes from an HBCU has a certain amount of pride in who they are, where they came from, and what the next obstacle in their journey is. So, not to say that he didn't use it as a negative, he used it as a positive. Like you said, he said less and did more. Okay, and that mindset, along with his early rearing from his parents, certainly I think is one thing that helped. Another thing that helped is his cardiovascular work for endurance. Listen, the old saying that running backs get better as the game goes on. I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I played running back, and I can tell you this much. If a defensive lineman has to get off a block and then try to catch me and make a tackle, then guess what? He does that for about 48 to 60 minutes a game for about 3 hours. He's going to be tired. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is his work ethic to get his cardiovascular endurance and muscle endurance up with all that training that's all been heavily documented, running the hills, people throwing up trying to follow what he does. Guys, how do you think that he been able to run those routes, noticing, like you mentioned, Bobby, nobody caught him from behind but prime time. Nobody else caught him from behind. I have an answer for it. The cardiovascular work and the muscle endurance that he did in the off season, and then some of it in the season, allowed him. Here's the greatest fear, Bobby. As a defensive back, a guy runs a go route. He runs 50 yards down the field. And one thing I've already told my offensive coordinator multiple times as head coach, if we throw it deep on a corner, turn around and throw it on deeper again the next play.
There you go, coach.
This time use another receiver.
Right.
But that corner's going to stay in the game unless he got the doghouse for getting burned or he didn't play the technique sound. So you and I know that defensive back is tired. Guess what? Jerry Rice wasn't tired. And that's why he played at an optimum level throughout the whole game. And it never changed for him. And that just put him on another level. The last thing that I thought that made him just incredibly great at what he did was, as you mentioned, the route running. He ran full speed in and out of his breaks. I mean, that's kind of unheard of in today's football. Everybody doesn't do it. They have to gallop. They have to, stop, chop, rev it down. They even like to push off so they can have a little help sometimes. Push off if that corner gets too close to him, because now DBs are fast too. So he wasn't the fastest guy on the field. When he came out his pro day, they said he ran a 4.8, but then again, nobody caught him when he got to the NFL. And at the end of the day, guys, his worst season of playing in the National Football League was his first year. He dropped more passes in his first year than you can even count for the rest of his career. And to play 20 years as a receiver, that's unheard of. It doesn't happen in today's football. Nobody does it. Mike Tyson is thinking about coming out of retirement at 53 to box. Let me tell you something, guys. It's just the body don't work like that. And when you get past 38 and you run around with guys 23 and 28. So kudos to him. Those are the reasons why I think he is the best ever at his position. He is arguably the greatest football player to ever play because of those things. His mindset, how he was reared, how he was able to train himself in and off out of season. And then at the end of the day, when he run those routes, they're precision. It's like that person that got cut and they didn't know they get cut till they jumped in the shower and the hot water hit them. That's what happened.
Well, the thing about Jerry Rice is that you brought up some good points, Coach Jones, him going to a HBCU, and Coach Butler, you broke it down adequately how he was able to play against them. For me, though, I look at Jerry Rice like that Prince song, Let's Go Crazy. When he went to Mississippi Valley, he went crazy. Like you said, Coach Jones, he was raised in a small town of Crawford, Mississippi with, about 600 people. And there was two players that came out there, Sam Harrison, who's a great player in the Negro League. His son ended up being the manager of the Chicago White Sox, and Clarence Witherspoon. Remember him, Coach Butler, that played in Southern Mississippi, first-round pick of the Philadelphia 76ers?
Right.
That area right there is something special. It's something in the water, as I told y'all, in the state of Mississippi, because both of my parents, Inez and Chester, are from that great state. But the thing that told me about Jerry Rice, he wasn't highly recruited. He went to Mississippi Valley. But this is what I think made him great. He was already ready for the NFL because he played under one of the greatest offensive minds of any college era. His name is Archie Gunslinger Cooley, by way of Jackson State University, played under the great John Meredith, who was his linebacker coach now. And we know what John Meredith did at Tennessee State. Can you help me, Coach Jones?
That's right.
Jerry Rice got under Archie Cooley. Archie Cooley was already advanced, running a 4 wide receiver set.
That's right.
And think about Jerry Rice senior year under a quarterback who doesn't get no love, Willie Cowper.
Willie Top, yeah.
And we talk about the offensive genius right now today. Lincoln Riley, Joe Brady, Lane Kiffin. But go do your history. The man that was the offensive coordinator that brought us together to where we at right now was that young man out of Summerall, Mississippi, Archie the Gunslinger Cooley. And he had a guy named Jerry Rice, who he took his senior year. Jerry Rice, 122 receptions, 1,800 yards, 27 touchdowns. But I also think about this. He played in the SWAC where the competition was fierce. Yes. Jerry Rice was going up against Isaac Hope, who turned out to be a good player with the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. And then he played against, to me, one of the greatest corners that ever came in the National Football League. Let me say it again, Brother Butler. His name is Albert Lewis.
Albert Lewis.
Kansas City Chiefs. 38-inch vertical that played 9 years with the Chiefs. That was Jerry Rice. That's who he was going against when he even got in the league. So it was just about him coming into the league, just getting adjusted to the speed of the game. But he already had all the ability to be a great receiver. Because when he learned down there at Valley, as they say down there in Ena Bina, y'all not feeling me, where it's hot. The dirt is red. And you got to be special to grow up in that area. Because my mother's from Sunflower, baby. And she's 80 years old today, kicking it. So Jerry Rice came from a tremendous background. And this what defines me as being the greatest football player ever. 1986, he was MVP of the league. 1,570 yards, 15 touchdowns. But he came back at 87 in the strike short season and had 23 touchdowns in 11 games.
Yeah, he did.
11 games.
Yeah, he did.
But let me go back. When he was MVP in 86, he had 3 different quarterbacks. And then to really put it on the mustard, when we think he was slipping, in 85, he had over 1,800 yards receiving and another 13, 14 touchdowns at 33 years old. To me, you got 197 touchdowns in your career. All those yards, like you said, Brother Butler, it's been no better football player in the history of this game. I don't mean no disrespect to Walter Payton, Jim Brown, Emmitt Smith, Tom Brady. But to me, Jerry Rice defines the definition of the GOAT.
Right. And
when you look at it, I'm proud to say he had 3 principles: addiction to hard work, finding a way when everything is bad, how you can be better. And the most important thing, this is a Christian way, I don't mean to be preaching. He was very humble. And every year when the rookies came in Frisco, he took every one of them under their arm, and I'm going to teach you how to be in the league. And finally, I got to give him a vote because he's a member of Phi Beta Sigma, baby. 1914, the greatest football player ever, Jerry Rice. Final words, Brother Butler, on Jerry Rice today.
Well, you all said it well. The guy was a class act. It was good to compete against him. It was a great competition because, we didn't have anything. The 49ers was always the team to gun for. And so it was great competition. Matter of fact, I'll never forget the last game I played. In my heart, I knew it was the last game. We played them in the Georgia Dome. And when the game was over, I saw him in Montana going into the locker room. And I sprinted down there to tell both of them, I thank both of y'all for just being who you were in my career, and just thank you for the competition. It's been great, right? My last words I had with Joe Montana, right? I've seen Jerry since then, but yeah, man, he's just an honor to play against, and to see a guy to do it the right way on that level. It was special.
Final words on Jerry Rice today, Coach Kevin the Bull Jones.
Well, here's what I would like to see happen. You know, I would hope that one day, as America's watching this last dance, and getting a chance to see Michael Jordan and what was his why to be so good at what he did. I hope that today's kids, and it doesn't matter if they still think Steph Curry or LeBron James, they can argue until they pass out who's the best. But what I want them to see is the attention to detail and the mental toughness and dedication it takes to be successful, because that can really peel you away from just regular players with great athleticism. I say that because hopefully they'll do a documentary such as this on Jerry Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he had a camera back there in the 49er days.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he had a camera when he became old and still was catching touchdown passes in the Super Bowl for the Oakland Raiders. Hopefully they'll put something together, because today's kid needs to see
that
there's a level that they have achieved as far as athleticism of a Jerry Rice, but between the ears, the part that makes him special, today's kids that play football in that position need to see it, because it'll be resounding and allow them to be better at their craft. You know, unfortunately, we got all these things that tell everybody they're so good now. So when these kids, by the time they get out of the draft, you know, they don't want to listen to anybody sometimes. And then when they get in the NFL, they get so much money, they really don't want to listen to anybody. But what allows you to play 20 years at the optimum level? Only one person did it. That's the GOAT.
Right. Pray
that those things can be exposed sometime so kids can see to follow in those footsteps. He's greatest of all time.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to end it very short and sweet. I'm going to say Ena Bena, Mississippi. Hot, red. It's something about the water in Mississippi. I'm going to say Phi Beta Sigma, January the 9th, 1914. And I'm going to say the GOAT, 197 touchdowns. You don't even have to go no farther. We don't even have to say anything. Ain't nobody even close to him. But one thing about Jerry Rice that I loved about him is that he was very humble, and he got the humble spirit. And think about now, he don't have to have a documentary like Michael Jordan. He don't have to be in the spotlight. The truth is in the pudding. Kudos to the greatest football player ever out of the state of Mississippi. Something in the water, baby. Y'all not feeling me today. Jerry Rice. God bless and have a wonderful day. If you like the video, please comment and share it here on 100 Yards of Football.